Grief Isn't Just Sadness, by Jameson Cobbs, founder of Tough Love Counselling. Most people think grief is sadness, crying, missing someone, feeling the weight of a death or a major loss. And yes, grief can be that. But grief is bigger than sadness. Sometimes grief is anger. Sometimes it is numbness. Sometimes it is exhaustion. Sometimes it is walking through your life realizing something has changed and no one else seems to understand the size of it. Grief is not only about death. You can grieve a relationship, a marriage, a family you thought would stay together, a version of your life that no longer exists. You can grieve the person you used to be, the future you thought you were building, the trust you lost in someone, the stability you assumed would always be there. And because some of those losses are invisible, people often minimize them. They tell themselves, it wasn't that bad. Other people have it worse. I should be over this by now. But grief does not disappear because you explain it away. It waits. And when it is not processed, it often comes out sideways. Irritability, withdrawal, overthinking, low motivation, difficulty trusting people, a sense that life is moving forward, but you are not moving with it. That does not mean you are weak. It means something mattered. And when something mattered, losing it changes you. The mistake people make is thinking grief has a deadline. It does not. Grief changes shape. At first, it might feel sharp. Later, it might feel quiet. Then one day, something small brings it back. A song, a date, a place, a conversation, a memory you were not expecting. That is not failure. That is how grief works. But there is a difference between carrying grief and being controlled by it. Carrying grief means you have made room for the loss without letting it define your entire life. Being controlled by grief means the loss is still organizing your choices, your relationships, your energy, and your sense of self. That is where therapy can matter. Not because therapy erases grief. It does not, and it should not. The goal is not to forget. The goal is to understand what changed, what still hurts, and what kind of life is possible now. Because sometimes the hardest part of grief is not losing what was. It is accepting that life continues and you are expected to continue with it. That can feel unfair. It can feel disorienting. And it can make you feel guilty for moving forward or guilty for not moving forward fast enough. But grief is not something you defeat. It is something you learn to relate to differently, with honesty, with patience, with less avoidance, and eventually with more room to live again. If you are grieving, you do not need to perform strength, but you do need to be honest about what the loss has done to you. Not so you can stay stuck there, so you can begin to understand who you are becoming after it. If this perspective resonates, I occasionally publish and record pieces like this. You're welcome to follow along or reach out if and when it feels relevant.